Pull up.
Frank.
Headshot.
Frank.
Sit down.
Frank.
Stand up.
Frank.
Pass out.
Frank.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy m.A.A.d coming at you live with episode 4 of UnScripted Hip Hop. And I'm excited about this one, ladies and gentlemen. We are reviewing Mr. Kendrick Lamar's first debut album with Aftermath, Interscope, Good Kid, M.A.A.d City. Yo, it's been a lot of hype about this album. Kendrick Lamar's been blowing up lately. He's been the talk of the town, resurrecting the West Coast. And he's been putting out a lot of music lately, and it's finally culminated with his first debut album. And like I said before, huge hype for this album. And honestly, this brother delivers. Recently, I've had a couple of MCs be at the top of my list, and Kendrick Lamar has been there, and quite deservingly. I think that in the music times that we're in right now, a lot of what's popular isn't really lyrical. A lot of what's popular is hard banging beats, and I think, in my opinion, we've kind of lost track of the essence of what hip hop is storytelling, and using clever wordplay to bring about entertainment. And this young brother right here is doing that. Man, Good Kid, M.A.A.d City. First off, number one thing that you need to understand about this album is that on the cover art, it's called Good Kid, M.A.A.d City, a short film by Kendrick Lamar, and that's a perfect way to describe it. I think that starting from track 1 all the way to the end, it is a story. It's not just about the music. It's not just about the lyrics. It's about the story that he puts together. And I honestly think of recent concept albums, concept mixtapes, this is by far my favorite. It really takes us back to his roots in Compton, growing up, California, growing up around drugs, alcohol, gangbanging. A lot of people are probably going to relate to it, but he does it so masterfully that it's not like, I'm pushing it in your face. Oh yeah, I'm a gangster, West Side. What up, homie? It's not like that. I think honestly it's beautiful the way that he kind of wove together these different themes into music that you're gonna be shaking your head to, like, yo, that's a dope beat, that's cool how he said that. But at the same time, if you really listen to what he's saying, you're getting something bigger than just some music to fill your ears. So let's just start off the first track. I think it's interesting. It started with a prayer. And then kind of getting off into the story how he met this girl, Shireen or whatever, and it kind of rolls off from there, that meeting, and it just continues to go on. And I think what's really interesting and what's great about this album is that on every song, at the end of every song or the beginning of every song, there's a little bit of an interlude that kind of continues the story onward. And I think that's really great. I think that's what an album is supposed to be like. It shouldn't be just, a collection of hit singles, some deep songs. But this is legit a story. It is a short film, and he does that really great by kind of weaving in those little interludes, a little bit of dialogues between him and his friends, his family, mom, dad. It's really, really good. As far as the beats go on this, interesting. So I thought about this album, and I was like, is this gonna sound like Section 80? Which was great, by the way, his first joint. But I remember reading something that he said in an interview that Good Kid, M.A.A.d City is not gonna be like that at all. It's probably gonna sound a lot different, and it does sound different. This is definitely not something you would hear on the radio. This is not mainstream hip hop. But for those that really enjoy lyricism, really enjoy a deep story, this is for you, hands down. The beat selection, you got a lot of, you had Just Blaze on here, you had Hit Boy, you had a bunch of other, producers he was working with. And I know that he said himself that, he wanted to work with a lot of his, people that he worked with coming up. And, I think that was a good move because a lot of the beats really do suit him. I know a lot of people know Kendrick for having, a weird flow and switching it up a lot. And that's really apparent because he knows how to ride these beats perfectly. And a lot of these songs, the beats change dramatically. You'll have a constant beat, and then it'll sound like a completely different song, but it's on the same track, and he does a great job at adjusting to those levels. Yeah, like I was saying about the beats, a lot of different types of beats. You got your heavy like, boom, boom, I'm gonna rock this in the car type, beats. You have Compton, which came out a little earlier. The Recipe with Dr. Dre, Compton has Dr. Dre on there too, and those are definitely really Dre influenced, definitely classic West Coast sound, and it definitely comes through on there. And then I think the other hard hitting beat is on the Mad City track. I think that's probably my favorite, absolute favorite track off of this album. I think that his flow on there, phenomenal. And I think that the beat is crazy. It's really reminiscent of something Dre would do. And it sounds kind of a bit like, some old school Eminem. He's got his raspy voice on there, so you can kind of feel the passion, when he's rapping on it. And trust me, if you appreciate lyricism, check out M.A.A.d City. And it's M.A.A.D. It's M.A.A.d for a reason. I'm not going to tell you what that stands for, but make sure, if you haven't figured it out already, make sure you listen to that track, and you'll figure it out. Really, really dope on there. And then another one of my favorite songs on here was the Art of Peer Pressure. When it originally leaked, it was just the actual song, and I thought that was so cool, the way that he told the story about growing up in Compton, not having anything to do, and so what we're gonna do, we're gonna rob this house. Him and his homies. A lot of people are probably gonna relate to that type of peer pressure. But what he did on the album is he added this interlude that I absolutely loved. I think that's my favorite interlude on there. Talking about he's just with the homies. His mama said it's gonna burn him out, but he don't care. He gonna keep doing it. I thought the instrumentals on that, the strings, it really sounded orchestral, and I enjoyed it. And definitely, if you're gonna pick up this album, which I highly suggest you do, you definitely gotta get the deluxe version. Because it's only 4 or 5 other tracks, but trust me, that makes a load of difference. Definitely off those tracks, my favorite had to be Black Boy Fly. I think that with Black Boy Fly, we definitely get a side of Kendrick Lamar, a story from Kendrick that a lot of people are gonna appreciate. And him talking about he never thought he was gonna get out of Compton. Saying that he was jealous of the game, he was jealous of Aaron Flalo, and seeing how all those people put their passions into with their basketball, with Jayceon, who's the game, with rap, and him feeling jealous about that. And I think it's really inspirational for a lot of kids to see that you can get out. It is very much so possible. Just put your heart into whatever it is you're doing, and you can do it. And that's what's said beautifully with Black Boy Fly. And then finishing it off with Mary J. Blige on that Now or Never track. At first when I heard it, I was like, I don't really know. But definitely the hook that she puts on there, I really enjoyed it. I've always kind of liked Mary J. Blige. I think that she was good for that. The features, speaking of Mary J. Blige, the features on this track, on this album, I think they were good. It's definitely not feature heavy, but the people that are on there really work well. You obviously have Dr. Dre, who's really instrumental in making this album, so he's gonna be on there. I don't mind him too much. Mary J. Blige, you got your Black hippie people. You have J-Rock on there, who on Money Trees, although I didn't really like that song, it's probably my least favorite on the album, but he delivers. It's solid. And then, of course, you got that mega feature with Drake. And a lot of people hate on Drake. Give the guy some slack. Like, he's good at what he does. Just because some people might not appreciate, him talking about his emotions or whatever. Like, he does it well. Dog, I'm not going to talk about that. But, hey, do what you do. And I think that him and Kendrick on that Poetic Justice track, man, that was nice. The sampling on there, beautiful. And I think, it was a good beat for Drake to get on. It didn't sound forced. It really sounded natural. So, big ups to Kendrick for putting Drake on that track. Really, really good. And then, of course, you got your Swimming Pools, The Recipe. All those have been on the radio. Overall, I loved it. You should love it, too. Probably, I'm going to say this might be Album of the Year. And I'm going to go ahead and give it 5 stars. I think, this is not an album that some people are just going to be like, if you listen to the radio stuff, Roscoe Dashes and that simple stuff, you might not like it. But for those that really do appreciate hip-hop and lyricism, check out Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, M.A.A.d City. Definite 5 out of 5 stars. Holla at your boy. It's Amin. Follow me on Twitter, @Sudani Sigma. And we're going to keep doing this